Yo, what's up guys? Banes here, and today I want to make a video on building Raidou Kuzunoha in the self-titled Raidou Remastered. I know this video isn't the most timely, but I still wanted to make it. Being the protagonist, there are many options for how you want to customize Raidou, from his stats, to the type of weapon he uses, to his combat and passive skills. So I thought making a video like this might be useful to anyone starting to play the game, midway through, or even doing New Game Plus. Now, Raidou Remastered being an action RPG instead of a traditional turn-based one definitely makes building Raidou more subjective. Some players might be really good at dodging, making them not need as many defensive stats or passives. Some may want Raidou to be more supportive and let the other demons do the damage. It can all depend. Thus, I wouldn't say there is any one definitive best way to build Raidou. I thought I would simply share the build I ended up with, along with some other options, and every player can go with whatever skills they find the most useful. One quick thing to mention here, I made a website recently to serve as a place to host my videos and related write-ups. The website link is simple, banes.ca, and if you go there now you can find a related article for this video. I'm working on moving over more posts from my previous Medium blog, so check it out if interested. And be sure to like and subscribe here, as it really makes me notice your support. Okay, to start out with, like some other SMT games, each time Raidou levels up, you are able to assign 1 point in either strength, magic, vitality, or luck. Essences, which you get throughout the game, can also increase either Raidou or his demon stats. In this game, strength increases the damage of Raidou's sword attacks, as well as his physical combat skills. Magic increases the damage of Raidou's magic combat skills, but it also increases Raidou's defense against magic attacks and slightly boosts the stats of Raidou's allied demons. Vitality increases Raidou's defense against physical attacks, while luck increases the chance of critical hits, helps fend off ailments, and can increase the odds of getting certain drops from battles. What stats you put points into matters most during the early game, because as you can see, by the time you get to the end, you can have every stat maxed or close to max. In my opinion, focusing on magic first can be beneficial because it offers 3 benefits in helping your magic damage, resistance, and demon stats. After that, vitality can be considered, as getting some points there can help a lot versus strong physical attacks. Once you get further in the game, Raidou gets access to more powerful swords and physical combat skills, so strength can be an option from then on. And luck I would consider the last priority, because even with a high luck stat, criticals and ailments are still chance based. Because of that, I wouldn't prioritize it until your other stats are really high. Now the main way you can actually customize Raidou is by using sword alchemy. This is an option in the Gomaden and operates similar to a skill tree, where each node requires unlocking the previous one, and each unlock requires materials and yen. Most weapons are gated behind specific materials you only get by progressing the story. There are some missable materials that are only available in certain chapters and cannot be obtained later, which I will put on screen. But most materials are plentiful and are available to purchase in Konaya after the story segments. The final sword unlocks require a lot of yen, so you'll need to either grind for money, using the training hall or DLC, or only prioritize the weapons that provide the best passives for your build. Raidou can use either swords, spears, or axes as his weapon of choice. Swords offer your standard hack and slash gameplay, spears are faster and can build up the combo meter quicker, while axes are slower and do more damage per hit. It doesn't matter which type of weapon you end up using on Raidou, as long as the weapon's attack stat and bonus stats are equivalent, because you can use any weapon skill as long as it's been unlocked. Personally, I find swords to be the most comfortable. I ended up using one called Mirakumo, but test them all out and go with what you prefer. All weapons in New Game cap out at 360 attack, but there is a spear called Amano Nuboko in New Game Plus that goes up to 410, technically making it Raidou's best weapon for subsequent playthroughs. Moving on to Raidou's active combat skills, you get 3 slots for them that you can use throughout the game. It should be noted as well, you can switch out what active skills you have equipped during combat, though they will start off on cooldown. 2 of the earliest combat skills you get access to were actually ones I used throughout my whole playthrough. The first one being Magnetize, from the first Axe Type 32 Gunto, which immediately restores 50% of your mag. Given its low cooldown and how important mag is for your demon's abilities, this was a skill I kept on Raidou the entire game. Another early one is Zeal, from the Kiyotsuna Axe, which cures your team's status ailments and triggers Zeal for the party. The actual effect for Zeal is somehow never given in-game, but it seems to provide a status immunity and increase your team's offense and defense during its duration. It has a low duration of 10 seconds with a 30-second cooldown, but it's the only team damage boosting skill Raidou gets access to, so I kept it for most of my playthrough. The last skill slot was always used for a damaging move, which I progressively changed throughout my run. Since I usually had demons to hit enemy weaknesses, I tended to go for physical skills that did a lot of damage. Heat Wave is a notable one, which you get access to fairly early. It does severe damage in a straight line and has a short cooldown of 20 seconds. One of my favorite moves to use was Menacing Blades because it would do a lot of damage in an area in front of Raidou, but it does have a longer cooldown of 45. For magic, Megidolon is a strong AoE nuke, but the 60-second cooldown made me not use it that often. In the end, try out as many damaging skills as you can and stick to the ones you find the most satisfying to use. Now last but not least are Raidou's passive skills. You get 6 slots to start out with, and you can unlock 2 more for a total of 8 by completing case files 30 and 42. Even with 8 slots, it can be hard to narrow down what passives you want to keep, as there are plenty of good ones. I'll simply be sharing the build I chose, and then list other options you can go with. The first 2 passives go hand in hand: Summoner's Will, which increases the damage of spirit slashes, and Righteous Heart, which increases all sources of spirit gain. Because of how strong Spirit Slashes is, doing insane damage, always transforming into the best element for the encounter, and hitting all enemies, passives that increase the damage even further and let you use it more often, seemed like a no-brainer to me. Righteous Heart is a passive you unlock after case file 42, it's not on the regular sword alchemy chart. The next one I used was Devil's Ruin, which increases the damage of Devil's Bane, Raidou's gun counter. Even though Devil's Bane requires dodging, it's a strong single target attack and particularly comes in handy in some boss fights. Martial Instinct slightly reduces the amount of time until Raidou's combat skills can be used again, and after some testing, I found this reduces the cooldown of all combat skills by 20%. Shield Breaker greatly increases the damage allies deal to foes' weakness shields, while Diamond Disposition greatly increases the damage dealt by and mag cost of demon attacks. Both of these passives improves the effectiveness of your demon allies, letting them contribute in combat even more. Lastly, to help with mag consumption, there are 2 final passives: Capricious Miracle, which provides a chance that demon attacks do not cost mag, and Blessing of Mercury, which reduces demons' mag consumption. So those were the passives I ended up using on my final build. You can probably tell it is a fairly glass cannon setup, focused on doing as much damage as possible, as those are the builds I tend to prefer. But if you find yourself taking damage or dying often, there are some defensive options. Vengeance Seal provides a one-time half HP revive once per battle, and there are various resist passives such as Physical, Fire Elect, Ice Force, and Mind Death. Tiger and Dragon Stance reduce damage taken when guarding, though I didn't really use guard much at all. The step passives increase Raidou's effectiveness of dodging, while Inspiring Flash increases the odds to trigger Devil's Bane out of dodge. These could pair well with the Devil's Ruin passive, but I didn't find them worth it enough to replace my existing setup. Some other passives I also considered were Heroic Poise, that increases the damage of sword attacks at full HP, and Merciless Strikes, which increases the damage dealt to stunned enemies. These passives are nice, but again I couldn't find a place for them. Summoner's Rebirth, which restores 20% of damage taken as mag, seemed interesting, but late game, I didn't find myself taking enough damage to justify it. Most of the passives I talked about are naturally unlocked pretty late, as they're the best ones in the game. In early game, I used ones like Mag Drainer, Combo Rondo, Devil's Trick, and Phoenix Step. Something else I wanted to include in this video was the main demons I ended up using. Demon building in Raidou isn't as unique or interactive as other SMT titles, so I don't think a dedicated build video would be that worth it, but at least I can talk about them shortly here. Every demon skill in Raidou is transferable, meaning there isn't much separating demons gameplay wise. In fact, only their base resistances offer much reason to use one over another. The demon that actually has the best resistances is Thoth, a level 38 demon that has better resistances than even level 70 ones. 5 immunities at level 38 is insane, and they come at a time when you can get resist fizz easily from Hayatoro. I made this demon into my main buffer and healer. They were given all the temporary duration buffs. The passive skill extension can increase the duration of buffs, and magic boost reduces mag consumption. I had the DLC, so I was using a DLC skill Lucky Capote, which provides a luck-based chance to nullify damage or status, but as you can see, there are plenty of other options if not using DLC. The other demon I ran was usually an elemental attacker who could stun enemies and had the other buffing skills I was missing on Thoth. I chose Black Frost for this role because they're my favorite SMT demon, showing that anyone can be used for this role. Black Frost has the buffs that last the entire fight, so the rest of the time they could use mag for attacking skills. Same as Thoth, I did use the DLC passives that boosted damage, such as Mage's Craft and Destructive Joy, but many other passives work here. With just these two demons, I had every single buff active with full uptime, healing, and plenty of damage. So this was the setup I used most of my playthrough. But definitely use whichever demons are your favorite in this game. Every skill being transferable means that all demons are essentially the same, barring a handful of resistances. And that was my guide on building Raidou, with a small tangent on my demon allies. Once again, there's not really one optimal build here. This was mainly to show what I used and what options there are. And of course, Raidou Remastered is not the most difficult game, so you don't need everything unlocked to beat it. Last thing to mention, in New Game Plus, you are able to unlock 4 new passive skills, which will be on screen. I haven't played New Game Plus yet, but all these skills sound good, particularly Goddess Lullaby depending on how good the mag restoration is. But for this video, I wanted to keep things limited to a new game playthrough. Let me know if you guys liked the vid, and thanks everyone for your time. Peace.